Hey, Vestas, how we doing? Woo! Okay, I already got 3. That means it's 3,000 plus up in here. So guess what I found out this morning? So just let me remind you, hello, my peeps. Okay, that's what I'm talking about. So let me go ahead and give you some of the reminders from that awesome live that we had last night as a community. Hold on. I'm finna get to the gusto, but these are some of the reminders from last night. Remember when I said that all NFL quarterbacks need to be running scared? I got proof. Myles Garrett, remember when I said that Myles Garrett needs to be faster in order to prepare Shedeur Sanders for these defensive edges coming out of college? That's true. I got proof. Hold on. Also, remember when I said that the D edges are the quarterback destroyers and they super fastest? What I forgot to mention last night, the times that I called out these edges and some of these tackles are faster than wide receivers. I'm going to paint this picture for you. So guess what? Let me remind you this before I get into the gusto. So you may recall some of these names from last night. I hope you remember a young man by the name of David Bailey. I didn't have the information last night, but I know now. He is coming from Texas Tech. Okay, he ran a 4.51. We all remember that historic run last night. Then I also talked about a Malik Lawrence. He ran a 4.53. He's coming from the Texas Longhorns. Okay, Trey Moore. He ran a 4.54. He's coming from USC. Tony Talks, why are you recapping all of these times? Because remember, Myles Garrett combined time was 4.64. So those 3 players are automatically faster than Myles Garrett by 1 second. Okay? Hey, what's up, lady? What's up? All right. So keep going. Now, the 2 other players I'm going to call out, they have average speeds as Myles Garrett. His name is Dennis Sutton. He ran a 4.6 just like Myles Garrett. He's coming from Penn State. All right, moving forward, it was a Romello Height. He also ran a 4.64. He's coming from Texas Tech. Also, I don't know what's going on with Texas Tech, but whatever they doing in Texas, they doing it good. Because in the last 5 players, I've called 3. That's in Texas. All right, let me keep going. Now, the last 4 players I'm finna call, they were only either 0.01, 0.02, or 0.03 slower than Myles Garrett. In my book, that's still faster, or they can get faster, or they equal Myles Garrett. Those players are Jayshon Barham. He ran a 4.65. He's from the University of Michigan. Also, George Gumbus. He ran a 4.66. He's from the Florida Gators. R. Mason Thompson. He ran a 4.67. He's from Oklahoma Sooners. And last but not least, from Clemson, T.J. Parker. He ran a 4.68. So remember how last night I was painting the picture that how Shedeur Sanders or any other NFL quarterback, veteran or rookie, they need to watch out for these edges because they're coming out faster. Well, guess what? Today I'm at work, and I said I'm going to make this live short because everybody's on lunch break. Well, guess what team that's in the same AFC North as Shedeur Sanders has already talked to David Bailey? Yes, less than 24 hours. Matter of fact, after he finished his drills yesterday, there was one team that was in the face of David Bailey that was 1 second faster than Myles Garrett. You know who that is? The Cincinnati Bengals. The Cincinnati Bengals of all teams have already been talking to this young man. So hold on, why is that important? Well, if you don't know why that's important, this is why they're important. This is why it's important. Remember, they're in AFC North, so we play the Bengals twice, the Steelers twice, the Ravens twice. So, and Myles Garrett, remember Myles Garrett, he got that record off of Joe Burrow last year, right? Everybody has not forget that record that Myles Garrett broke last year, the 23 most sacked NFL player in history, right? Well, if the Cincinnati Bengals wants to compete with the Cleveland Browns coming up in 2026, don't you think they would go out and get somebody to rush Shedeur Sanders just like Myles Garrett rushed Joe Burrow on that field? Let me tell you one thing. Even though the combine is just starting, they are already starting to make moves and they're scoping out potential players, especially in the AFC North, just to go up against Shedeur. And guess what? If you're in this room and you're not a Cleveland Brown, if your team picked up some of these edge rushers that I just called out, you need to be fearful of your quarterback also. Do you hear what I'm saying? All right, so I went a little further. I said, well, okay, what teams is need of an edge rusher? Because Dave Bailey is only one player, but let me see what other potential players that the Cleveland Browns may go through, right? That may meet up with Shedeur and the Cleveland Browns this year. So that is the Bengals, of course. They need an edge rusher. The Commanders, Bears, Jets, and Cardinals. I said, well, okay, let me take this a step further. Well, where do they line up in terms of the NFL draft? Oh, and I left one team out, most importantly. Guess who else needs an edge rusher, right? And if you don't know, there's a rumor going around that Max Crosby may get traded to another team. And if that's the case, the Raiders, who has the number one spot in this year's draft, if they let Max Crosby go, that means that they will be in a dilemma. Will they take Mendoza at number one, or will they take this same player or another one of these players, Dave Bailey, at number one? Guess what? We played the Raiders too this year. So what is lining up coming out of this combine? It's going to be phenomenal. These teams are already, yesterday, I got ESPN mock draft, and I already, based off the top 10 slots in ESPN mock draft, 3 of these players will be going in the top 10. And guess what? We play all of those teams that is looking for an edge rusher in the top 10 for 2026. I did my homework, okay? Now there was a notable player that was on everybody's radar, but remember in the live last night, I stated that everybody that was present at the combine, they didn't participate or they didn't run, and they was going to save their energy and focus on their pro day. There's one player, and maybe I brought his name up last night and maybe I didn't, but his name is Ruben Baring Jr. He didn't run last night and he didn't participate in no skills. But guess what? They also saying that he also can get drafted by the Bengals. So if the Bengals don't pick up David Bailey, they're also looking at Ruben Bain Jr. I don't know his time. He actually could be faster than Dave Bailey, but who knows? He didn't run, so all we gonna guess. Now, in terms of Mendoza, if this is true, is the Raiders going to pick up that edge rusher? Or are they going to pick up Mendoza? I really don't care. That's not my concern. But my concern would be if the Raiders, because Mendoza only had one good year in college, if they pick up this edge rusher, just know that Shedeur Sanders and the Cleveland Browns will be meeting David Bailey this year. Oh, Vestas, they did something. They already putting this thing together. Greetings, my sister. I was in the same line. Okay, so you know exactly what I'm talking about. But this is interesting. The Cincinnati Bengals already pulled Dave Bailey to the side. They have already interviewed him. And from what I heard is they only interviewing candidates and potential prospects that they're interested in. So we can confirm that the Bengals are definitely interested in Dave Bailey. And like I said, there's 3 that ran last night that's faster than Myles Garrett. There's 2 that equals Myles Garrett's speed. And there's another 4 very close behind. How they know what they're doing. Oh, yes. They know exactly what they're doing. They know exactly what they're doing. But that's okay though, because guess what? Over here as Vestas, we know exactly what we doing too. We know how to break this thing down. Now, I do want to confirm this before I get into some of the mock draft prospects as of now. And in that mock draft from ESPN this morning, they did have Carnell Tate coming to the Cleveland Browns as number 6. We already know we can't put any weight into these mock drafts because they're just predictions. You know why? Because of what happened last year. Shedeur Sanders supposed to have been in round one. So these are just, I'm going to say imaginary boards that they're putting out. But as of now, ESPN has Carnell Tate going to the Cleveland Browns. Of course, that's going to change. Now, I do want to bring this up to you before I continue this part of the segment. It has been confirmed. Joe Hayden has returned. He is home safe and sound. Their podcast is starting around 11 o'clock this morning. So I actually physically saw him sitting down in his chair. So he is home safely. I have watched other videos on YouTube, and some Americans are still stuck in Mexico. They should be coming out pretty soon, because now Mexico is rated a level 2. And if you don't know what that means it's more of a type of, how can I say it in terms of civilian terms? The threat level. So a threat level number 2. That means that tourists can still go to Mexico, but it's still some remnants of what happened last week in Mexico. So I wouldn't advise nobody to do that, even though it's a level 2. You still need to be a watch out, because it could go to a level 3 or 4 in less than 30 seconds. Yes, based off what's going on. Okay. Yeah. Praise God. Yes. Praise God. And also Vestas, even though I'm a little channel over here, I know what I'm talking about, right? Remember we talked about the NFLPA report cards roughly about 10 days ago? Now everybody is talking about these report cards that we dug into very deeply. Why I want to bring that up? We covered this already. So while everybody else is focused on the report cards, we finna focus on this combine and who Cleveland Browns is going to draft and who the opponents are going to draft, because based off this, everybody's looking for winning records, but in the AFC North, they're gaining. They are definitely trying to beef up their defense to get to Shedeur Sanders this year. So this is going to be an interesting year, Vestas. Okay. Let me go over this mock draft, and then I'm gonna let you go, Vestas, because I told you it was gonna be a very short live. Ooh. So of course at ESPN, their mock draft, they had Mendoza going 1. But of course that could change if they definitely get rid of Mark Crosby. All right, let me pull this up real quick. And investors, I was going to do the tight end and the defensive backs combine summarization tonight, but I don't know when that's going to end. So I'm going to move that live up to tomorrow morning. And then the quarterbacks, wide receiver, I'm going to have to move that back a day too, because if they do the tight ends late tonight, I won't be able to compile my notes and compare different players. So I'm just going to move that over to tomorrow morning. So I just want to let you know, Vestas. Now, if they allow the tight ends to participate first tonight, I will be running that live tonight. So I hope to get to see you then. So this is ESPN mock draft, and I really don't like them because they ate up Shedeur Sanders last year, but I'm going to see exactly what their mentality is this year. Going 1, Mendoza. 2 for the Jets, Caleb Downs. He's a safety. Arizona Cardinals, they have David Bailey going to the Cardinals. But if the Bengals already talked to David Bailey, I wouldn't be surprised if the Bengals sitting at 10 will trade up at number 3 just to get Bailey. But as of now, ESPN has Bailey going to the Cardinals. And guess what? We play the Cardinals too, okay? So just because Dave Bailey don't go to the Bengals, is other teams that he could probably go to and that we'll see him against Shedeur Sanders this year, okay? For number 4 for the Tennessee Titans, Arvell Reese. One of the Vestas last night, 420 Jenkins. She put his time in the chat last night. He ran a 4.53 as a safety. Now, them safeties only come in place if that quarterback get past that line and them edges and he's going downfield and he get past those linebackers. That's when he'll meet those safeties, okay? So he's very fast too. If he sees Shedeur Sanders on bypass that line, he's going to come up quick. And Shedeur Sanders, I'm sorry, does not run a 4.5 anything, okay? Even if it run a 4.6, 4.7, 4.8, he's slower than that safety. Let's keep talking. ESPN has Carnell Tate going to Cleveland. If that happens, If that happens, Jerry Jeudy, who? Carnell Tate will definitely replace Jerry Jeudy. But of course, we need to see how all this aligns. But as of now, ESPN has Carnell Tate going to the Cleveland Browns. For the Washington Commanders, as you know, they also needed a edge, but they have Sonny Styles, another young man that we talked about last night in the combine. Sonny Styles, he was the one that broke the vertical jump record. The last time that record was held was in 2003 or 2004. That young man jumped 43 and a half inches straight up. Woo! He levitated. I'm trying to take, I saw that myself. He levitated, okay? So he can jump. Going to the New Orleans Saints, Malik Lemon, he's a wide receiver. We haven't seen the wide receivers yet, but we definitely going to see them tomorrow, okay? And I'm going to compare each one of them to Jerry Jeudy. Isaiah Bond, he's safe in my book, but definitely Jerry Jeudy. We got to get rid of him, okay? For number 9, Kansas City Chiefs may pick up a Jeremiah Love. He's a running back, okay? And then number 10, as I stated, Ruben Bain. So even if the Cincinnati Bengals does not get David Bailey from Texas Tech, Ruben Bain Jr. from Miami, that's another player we need to watch out for. Sylvesters, that's my lunch take and your lunch take too. This is about to be interesting. Well, I hope I haven't missed no text messages. Can somebody please just put something in the chat, or one or two, to let me know that the chats are still live? Okay, I see the hearts. Can somebody put a 1 and a 2, just so I hope I'm not missing any chats? I hope it has installed. Okay, we good. All right, anybody got any questions? If not, that's my hot lunch take. And the Cincinnati Bengals, they are already scheming. Hey, how you doing? Hey, Black Diamond, I hope you was able to get into the beginning of the live. If not, I'll do a quick recap. So based on that live I did last night, I talked about a lot of players that was faster than Myles Garrett. I have already listed those players. It's a very short live, so hopefully you could go over that tonight, okay? But David Bailey, the young man that had the fastest time in the combine for day one at 4.51. Out of all teams, guess who already pulled that young man to the side and already started talking to him as a potential prospect? The Cincinnati Bengals. That is important because those edges are the ones that will get after Shedeur Sanders. And like I said last night, based off the times coming out of the combine, Myles Garrett would have to get faster in order to give Shedeur Sanders a true look of the opponents. He can go to the Raiders. He can go to the Cincinnati Bengals. He can go to the Commanders. He can go to the Jets, because these are the teams that need a defensive end. The Cardinals, the Raiders, the Bengals, the Commanders, the Bears, and the Jets. So it's we already got action. And we haven't even hit day 2 yet. Late, but I'm on time. Okay. It's all good. We all good. My tummy is full with this knowledge. Hey, I'm trying to tell you. Hey, and guess what? Make sure y'all get bigger vests, because as y'all see, we're going to need some pockets, and we're going to need them extra larges, 2X, 3X, because I'm going to be putting so many notes in those pockets. By the time we hit the draft, we'll be able to look at those players and say, okay, if they go against the Cleveland Browns and Shedeur Sanders, this is what we're looking at. This is where we're trying to get to before 2026, because as you know, they already scouting and scheming and planning to go against Shedeur Sanders and the Cleveland Browns. And guess what? If you're not a Cleveland Browns fan and you just decide to come over here and pop it in this live and see, these defensive edges could also go after your quarterback. So everybody need to start playing, because the defensive edges are faster, coming out of college faster than the wide receivers. Because Jerry Jeudy was only 4.6. And I know I brought that up. Them 3 men I brought up, Dave Bailey, Malachi Lawrence, and Troy Moore, faster than Jerry Jeudy. What he's going to do? So we shall see. So investors and viewers, hey, thank you so much. I don't want to take too much of your time because it is lunchtime. And just a reminder, if the tight ends is at the end of the combine tonight, I will come on tomorrow morning. If the tight ends are at the beginning of the combine today at 3 o'clock, I will definitely be on tonight. And we'll be able to discuss why Kevin Stefanski liked the tight ends. I like the tight ends too. I'm not going to agree with him on many things, but the tight end really is a deadly weapon in my book in terms of offenses, okay? More deadly than a wide receiver. All right, Vesters. Until next time, make sure you get your notes, your drink, and your vest, because we stay vested up and we scheming and scouting and getting knowledge too, okay? Thank you, Vesters. Hold on, let me give it a little bit more. All right, I don't see no more chats. All right, enjoy your day. It is the weekend, okay?